Welcome to Successful Philanthropy. I'm your host, Jean Shafiroff, and today's show is all about the theater, Bay Street Theater, and with us is its executive director, Tracy Mitchell. She's an actress and a leader, and she's an all-round wonderful person. Tracy, welcome, and thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Jean.
Now, the Bay Street Theater is a local or a regional theater,
Right.
but in the whole scheme of things, it has an international reputation. And so, for our viewers, do you want to talk a little bit about that? Because I
Sure.
think it's so interesting.
Right. So Bay Street was founded in 1991, so we're celebrating our 30th anniversary, and we are a professional regional theater. We are a 299 seat house, and it means that we use professional actors. They're all equity actors. That's the union, and all of the other talent as well is of the same caliber. So these are all Broadway people that come out.
And you have some major names
Oh
on
yes.
your stage. And can you
Well,
tell our audience a little bit about some of the people who grace your stage? Because it's so interesting and
sure.
everyone wants to know.
So the theater was actually founded by Emma Walton Hamilton and Steve Hamilton. And
And that
if you
was how
don't
many years
recognize
ago?
those names, 30 years.
Wow.
And Emma is the daughter of Julie Andrews. And the third founder was Sybil Christopher. And Sybil was the original Mrs. Richard Burton before she was left for, Elizabeth Taylor.
Fascinating.
Yeah, so we've had a lot of, so we come from that real, the true basics of American theater. We start with that, and we've had everybody that you can think of, from singers to actors, from Billy Joel to comedians like Jerry Seinfeld, from Bob Balaban to Marsha Mason to Richard Dreyfuss to singers like oh God, there's just so many. Melissa Errico, um,
So a
God,
very
Ben
wide
Vereen.
array,
Yeah.
right? But what is it that attracts these major superstars like Billy Joel to the Bay Street Theater? You must have something because otherwise they wouldn't be with you.
Well, I think it's a couple things. I think first of all, we're in a fabulous location.
And you're in Sag Harbor,
We're in
right?
Sag Harbor, New
Mhm.
York. But the other thing is that we are there for people to try out works that they want to. We're there for artists. We are an artist's home. So they can come to us. They want to try out a new act. They want to work on something. They want to hear a new play read out loud. They want to develop a play for Broadway. Those are the kinds of things that we do. And they know that we have the talent pool to draw from to make that happen. So if I have a new musical I want to do, like the producer of Hamilton, Jeffrey Seller, Jeffrey came to us and said, can I try out my new musical in your space? Because they want to get the
Practice and the
they want to hear
exposure.
it and the exposure,
Mhm.
and they want to do it with a sophisticated New York audience, which we have. Of course, we have a full, great, we reach out east and west and Shelter Island and the North Fork, of course, but we also have a heavy New York audience. So it's a great way for them to see what works, what doesn't, because when shows go to Broadway, they've been worked on normally for years, and people don't often realize that it's a long process.
No, I understand that.
Yeah.
And so then, and you really have all of Manhattan out here in Sag Harbor and in the Hamptons. And then
Of course.
in the summer, we have so many Europeans here and people from the West Coast, really from all over the world. So,
Yes.
as you mentioned, the audience is very sophisticated. The actors and actresses are first class. And you offer a lot. You offer the audience a wide variety of the best, which I think is wonderful. And what have you done during this pandemic? I mean, are you open or how are you
So,
surviving? Because almost every
yeah.
group closing, right?
Well, like Broadway, we're closed. We're not allowed. We were never allowed to reopen, as per the governor.
At all.
At all. No.
Shame.
So we were originally scheduled to reopen in the fourth, whatever they called that, the fourth session, that when people were opening slowly. And unfortunately, we could not, because theater, because by nature, it's all about gathering, right? That's
Right.
what live
Hmm.
theater is. It's allowing us to sit cheek by jowl with our neighbor, and of course, that doesn't work during a pandemic. So we immediately parlayed into, because I was a former television and film producer, it was easy for me, and luckily I'm surrounded by a creative team. We immediately went online, and a week,
Virtual Zoom and
virtual Zoom, you name it, we've done it. We've streamed, we've shot live, we've done live tape. So the first thing we did was, because the minute it happened, I said, okay, what do people need?
they need
They
entertainment
need entertainment.
and a little fun.
They need fun. What is it that I do when something horrible is starting to happen and we weren't really sure, and I sing. So I said, and I usually have a drink. So I said, truth be told. So I said, I know, we'll sip and sing. So we started a series we're literally a week and a half after we shut down, called Sip and Sing, on Friday nights at 5 o'clock.
And did you sing?
Every Friday. No, I got the best of the best to come sing.
But will you sing for our audience now?
Oh, on a clear day, rise and look around you.
That's beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
Again, will you do it again?
No. So we hire professionals, right? So I got, some of the best, and they came and online and they sang, and we put up lyric sheets, and everyone zoomed in. And don't you know, we had almost 400 people those first 2 months, because people were so desperate to see one another, and we didn't know how long we were going to be sort of locked in place.
And a little entertainment, which is always such a relief during hard times,
Yes.
because this is not fun. This pandemic, and with so many people out of work,
Yeah,
it's it's a very difficult time. But
it is.
I'm with our governor. If we have to close, and if we and Dr. Fauci, we have to do what's
Yes.
right for
Right.
all of the people living, and we don't want this thing to spread
No.
around and
No.
and get worse than it actually is. And so you provided this great relief, which is so important right now. And
And it's
thank you for
important
doing
to try.
that.
Thank you. I mean, it's important to try and keep as many artists employed as we can. I mean, these people are really struggling. They're not wealthy people for the most part to
Mhm,
begin with.
mhm.
So when you add this on top of that,
Makes it so hard.
it's very difficult. And when you're talking about even the finest actors who are equity members, they are losing their health care now, because their health care is based on how much they work. So it's really a double, triple whammy for them.
And healthcare is so important.
Oh,
I can't
especially
imagine
now.
being out of work and not being able to go see a doctor
That's right.
because of no health care.
So
It's a really tough situation. And so what are you doing for the actors and actresses? Is there anything that Bay Street Theater is doing, or how do we help?
yes, so we, like other people I know that you've had on with Guildhall and the Hamptons Arts Network, of which there are 19 organizations out here, and we got together, and one of the first things we did was say, how can we raise funds to support artists? So we raised, I think it was $180,000 for re-granting to artists,
Great.
and so that was step one.
And I hear there's still money left over. Is that correct? And they're actually, maybe I'm mistaken, but I had heard that not all the artists have come forth to collect. Is that correct?
I think in terms of the distribution that the money is accounted for, and there's
Good,
just a few
good,
people that we have to get it to yet. So I
good,
think
good.
unfortunately it's been used, and I wish we had more to give out. But the other thing that we did the minute this happened was realized that we had the ability to help people lift their spirits, raise their spirits, and we also helped to raise money at our gala for the John Bon Jovi food bank as well, because I felt that, look, when I started at Bay Street, one of the things that we started was a thing called Benefits by Bay Street, because we always want to recognize that while the arts are so important, we have to make sure that people are have the
Fed.
basic needs first.
Yep, the
So
food pantries are so important right
exactly.
now.
So
And
we've really tried to help people in as many ways as we can. We went the first when this shut down, we went around to our entire theater and our shop space because I knew we had masks, and we collected all of our N95 masks, and I dropped them off at the hospital. And we're all doing what we can.
it's so important. I'm
Yeah,
on the board of the
I know
Southampton
you are.
Hospital Association, and I can say that what has been done in this community is nothing short of extraordinary. People have really stepped to the plate to help the hospital
Yeah,
and to help our primary care workers who are putting their lives at risk
that's right.
every single day
That's
to
right.
take care of people.
Yeah.
So it's really wonderful to hear that Bay Street Theater is involved in this whole process of helping out in this time of really great need.
Well,
And
yeah,
thank you.
you're welcome. In fact, our full name, which people always just call us Bay Street Theater, which is fine. But a couple years ago, we actually added to the name. So we said Bay Street Theater and the Sag Harbor Center of the Arts. And one of the reasons for doing that was to recognize that we are, in addition to our professional work, a community center,
Mhm.
and that we are so needed by so many out here. So we have in a normal year, we would have 30 to 35 other organizations who will use our space, other nonprofits that need a space to gather to do their fundraiser or something, or the hospital that comes and does its tick lectures and in Bay Street space under, again, on normal years. So we're there for anybody that really needs a space.
And you've created a community within the Bay Street Theater because I know many people that they've met a lot of friends through you
Yeah.
and they're there often.
Yeah.
And I've been there often when when you were open.
Right,
And it was a
exactly.
lot of fun and the entertainment coming through was extraordinary as you said before. And so what are you doing now to fundraise?
We had a wonderful gala this past summer,
Was it
but
virtual?
it was virtual,
Mhm.
yes, and it starred Richard Kind, and we had singers like Ben Vereen, and I brought a clip of it.
We're going viral, baby. Good evening, and welcome to Bay Street Theater's 2020 Virtual Gala Telethon. I am your host, Richard Kind. I'm your virtual host, and we hope that you are staying safe and healthy. We are here to provide you with a bit of fun, some great music, and raise some funds for a place that's near and dear to my heart, the theater, and specifically Bay Street Theater.
Well, that was really wonderful. How much money did you raise from the gala? Did you
Well,
raise as much as the year before?
the interesting thing is, we did because we didn't have all the expenses of a full-on gala, where we're serving food to 500 people. So it was really, we raised the exact same as we've done before. We net out at about $400,000, which is
And
pretty good for
that's fantastic for
Yeah.
a virtual gala. That's on the high side, actually.
Yeah, I think
Well,
so.
congratulations.
Thank
And
you.
you've got to keep doing it again. And maybe in the future, often think about this. Maybe there won't be in-person galas. Maybe they'll all be virtual because think about the audience you reach. It's so much larger.
It's true. It's very true. We're still doing online plays, and our goal is to have our summer come alive again. And we're hopeful that it's going to be outdoors under a tent. So what we'd like for people to do is commit to programming by buying a subscription or becoming a member of Bay Street. And those things will help us get to the summer to when we can really have some outdoor programs again.
Now, moving to the summer, because we all are wondering what's going to happen in the summer of 2021. Will we
Yes.
have the big parties? Will we be able to go out and resume life again? And that's a big question mark. So I'm guessing you're preparing, as you said, an outdoor theater perhaps, but
Yes.
very spaced out. But
Yes.
again, that's probably on hold too, because who knows? here we are
we're-
in midwinter, and we
Yep.
really don't know, and it's really a shame.
I mean, we're hopeful that by then we will at least be able to have the vaccine enough so that we can protect the actors first, because they do have to interact closely. There's no, I mean, I went to see a show this past summer up in Massachusetts, and they actually did have actors spaced 6 to 8 feet apart. But it's very hard to sort of get across those emotions and all the things that wonderful theater can do. So for now, we will plan a 50-seat or 50-person, shall I say, potted audience where people are spread apart and the actors are 30 feet away and that kind of thing. And look, if it improves, great. We'll add more seats and be able to do that. Hopefully we'll be able to expand. But for
Well,
now,
that'll be very exciting, and because people really are
oh,
desperate to get out and desperate to do things, but everyone wants to be safe,
yeah,
and
exactly.
right now it's a big question mark.
They're desperate, and they're so desperate. I mean, I know because in the fall, before it got really brutally cold, we did a little Shakespeare in the park kind of thing. And we were only allowed to sell 40 tickets because we had 5 actors on stage and 5 of us helping. And we were only allowed 50 max total. And people, that sold out so fast because we were outside in a park, again, very distanced, but people were so excited and grateful. And, it happened to be a beautiful day. So we lucked out on all fronts. Now I'm trying to figure out how I can get people to gather like around a fire pit in the middle of winter, because we still have some months to go yet, and maybe do some programming outside.
It's tough because it gets cold out here.
Yes, it does.
Yes. So we are talking with Tracy Mitchell. She is the executive director of the Bay Street Theater in Sag Harbor, New York. I'm Jean Shafiroff, and let's get back to Tracy. And Tracy, you used to have a career doing commercials,
Yes,
producing, and
yes.
all sorts of things. Is that what made you draw you to the Bay Street Theater?
As my mother used to say, may she rest in peace, I was a drama queen from day one. And so I really was a singer. That was my thing. I mean, I did all the musicals in college and high school and all that. But I was in a group based in Cleveland where I grew up. And so we traveled and sang all over the world. We sang for presidents, Nixon, Ford, Carter. Now I'm dating myself. And so that's where my love came from.
And that must have
And
been a lot of fun
it
traveling
was.
around like that,
It
especially
was.
as a young woman,
Yeah,
seeing
as a
the
kid.
world, traveling.
Yeah. I mean, my
Were you
first trip.
under 18 or were
Yeah.
you?
Oh, I started
Really?
at 7 traveling
Wow.
and had tutors.
So acting is in your blood, and the
it
love of theater is
it's
is
there.
part of who you are.
It
And
is.
now you've been at the helm for 10 years,
Almost 13 years.
13 years.
Yep.
And I would say Bay Street Theater is probably very happy
Yeah, we're
with
having
all
a
you've done for sure, because
well,
I've watched Bay Street Theater grow and grow and grow. And you're so important for the eastern end of Long Island and then the world. And now that everything is virtual, are you finding that your audience has expanded?
it has. It really has. What's interesting is even on our Friday afternoon sip and sings, we have people from all over the world tuning in. Now, I don't know. I mean, they must be friends of friends who've
Or they
said
hear
this is what,
about
or they
you
hear
because of
about
your
us.
stellar reputation?
Well, it's been fabulous. I mean, it's been really nice. We've had people. We were on we had a production that we did of Moby Dick recently, and Judy Collins tuned in, and I was looking at the Zoom,
Wow.
and it says her real name on there. I'm like, Judy Collins. I said, is that really her? I'm on the chat, and it's like, yep,
And was it?
it was. It
How
was
much fun.
indeed. And we've had Kelly Ripa tunes into our Sip and Sings with her husband, Mark Consuelo, every
Oh,
Friday.
she's great.
And she talked about us on her show last week, which was really lovely. So it's been attracting people all around the globe, which has been really nice. Now, listen, we had our fortune and fame. I mean, who knew that behind these walls before I went to work at Bay Street were all these incredible people. And so anytime, the phone would ring, my secretary would be like, the office manager would say like, there's someone, she says that it's Elizabeth Taylor. And, I'd be like, it is Elizabeth Taylor. She's connected to us,
Oh,
So
so she would call direct, and many of the
yes,
actors and actresses just pick up the
they
phone
pick
and
up the
call you
phone and
direct.
call, and they would call Sybil, and they would call asking questions, and what are you doing now? This is what I'd like to work on. So it's been a nice ride, having come from New York City and working on all these big movies and shows, television shows. It's just as fun to do it in theater too. So
Now, a lot of people want to volunteer. This show is all about philanthropy, and of
yes,
course, you are a leader in philanthropy, and almost everyone out here on the eastern end of Long Island likes to be involved. We have a very
yes, very active.
concerned and very active community. And do you have opportunities for volunteers?
You bet. And when we're back open again, because again, we can't really have people in the theater.
And what can
But
people do?
they can volunteer.
By
They
doing
can-
what? What can they do?
Oh my gosh, our whole place is run by volunteers practically.
Oh, interesting.
We have 200 people that we hire during the course of the year. But when you think about it, our ushers are some of the main people that run the theater. We have,
And they're
we-
volunteers?
The ushers are all volunteers, and they show up 9 shows a week in the summer.
Wow.
And they're there for us, and they're there to make sure our audiences are safe, our actors are safe. So they're volunteering, and they're great.
Well,
But-
volunteering is something, well, number one, it's something to do, especially for retired people.
yes,
And when you give, you feel so fulfilled. I always say when you give, you get more than you actually give.
absolutely.
And for what about donating? How do we do that for
So,
our listeners?
You got it. So if people want to donate online, they can do that at baystreet.org. And there are many ways to give financially, stocks, cash. We'll take anything, old cars.
Have you ever taken an old car?
We've had several cars, as a matter of fact, because we need things to get, some people may say it's too much mileage for them. For us, we just need to get the actors to and from, the train stations and things like that. So we need cars.
Or you can put a car in an auction if it's an antique and a
Exactly, if
beautiful
it's some-
car,
That's
right?
right.
Did anyone ever give a house?
I keep asking, but I'm happy to be in your will as a house, and I will take
Well, you
anything.
can't personally, but the Bay Street
Bay
Theater
Street
certainly
Theater.
could, yes. And,
absolutely. We are a 501c3.
and that hasn't happened yet, a house.
Well, we didn't get the house, but we did have somebody leave us in their will that when they sold their house, we would get $200,000 from that house sale, which was another way of doing it. So
And did that
people-
happen?
Yes.
Oh, how nice.
Yes,
Yeah.
that was from the lovely Lanford Wilson, an incredible playwright of our time, and we used to do a lot of his shows. So
While we're on the air, is there anyone you want to thank, a big donor or someone who's really done a great deal for the Bay Street Theater? Because this is your chance.
yes, well, I would like to thank, first of all, our Bay Street Board of Trustees. This is the most devoted group of people I have ever met. And by working on the board of the hospital, it takes a village. So I want to thank our board and our board chairman, Steve Tadras. And then we have fabulous people, and they're doing a lot of work on the potential new building that will be created very soon. So
And tell us about the new building. It seems like every theater, it ages out. The
That's right.
physical structure ages out. So I'm assuming you have new plans somewhere in the same, is it the same location or is it someplace different?
it's a different location, but it's still right in Sag Harbor, diagonally across from the Bay Street Theater. We have purchased a piece of land, and now we can, because we've outgrown our space, and so we'll be able to have a theater and wonderful extra rooms for developing new work and more, a bigger and fuller developed education space. Because right now, when we do our summer camps and all of that we have to be somewhere else because we don't literally have the space for it.
And how large will this new facility be? You were anticipating 500 seats or what exactly?
No, it'll probably be same what we are now, probably a 299 seat theater, maybe slightly larger. It's all based on equity and how many seats and the rates go up. So we'll see what we need there, but we'll also have a major educational wing or arm of this so that we really can have training for young actors, for both professional and non, as well as writing and playwriting and all the things that we love to do in the theater.
Fabulous. And how much do you need to raise for this project? And when do you anticipate that construction will begin?
Oh, well, hopefully we'll be at least putting a shovel in the ground this time next year after we talk. And I do think that we will be raising millions of dollars because it takes a lot to build this facility. And I think it'll probably take us 3 years to do so. So,
Are you looking for one major gift?
well, those are fabulous when it can be the one big gift.
We have a lot of people watching, and you never know.
You bet. I should say that again, you can reach me at baystreet.org. We are looking for major gifts. We have
A naming opportunity. I'm sure you
we
have a naming
full
opportunity.
naming opportunities. 2 of our board members have taken some of them, but there's plenty of other naming opportunities. It's going to be a large facility and with many different spaces. So,
And that's great. And I'm sure you also want to thank your volunteers
I want to thank
because they're
Believe me,
major and they create.
I want to thank our volunteers, our board, our staff, our hardworking staff. These people have turned themselves around to try and make great productions during a very difficult time. And they literally have switched on a dime. If this is what I did yesterday, well, I'm doing this today. And that's what it takes. It never happens with just one person. It takes a village.
And I want to thank you because you're doing great things for the community as the executive director, Tracy. You're amazing. And we have about a minute left. If there were 3 things you could leave the audience with, what do you want to say?
I say the first thing is stay positive. We have to stay positive because that's how we're human beings and we need to gather and we will when the time is right.
Tracy, thank you very much for joining us. And you are doing extraordinary things for the Bay Street Theater. And we need more Tracys because you are very special in what you're doing. And we'll see you again. And this concludes Successful Philanthropy. I'm your host, Jean Shafiroff. I'll see you next week.